Yep.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
That fantastic performance. Just walk us through the fight. I know you said you were going to finish him, no doubts in your mind. Did you expect it to happen earlier, later? How'd it go relative to your game plan?
I was oddly excited when I heard, I think it was his corner that said 15 seconds left. When I got the takedown, I was planning on doing more on top, but I heard there's 15 seconds left. It's like, okay, I'll land a shot or two on top and just kind of solidify position. But I was like, oh, damn, like we're going to a second round. Nice. Like I'm probably not going to pass and get a submission in the last 10 seconds. So I thought that was kind of cool. Treat it like individual fights, you know, just like, okay, I won the first fight. Now the second round's a completely different thing. You can't, you know, wait on any of the success from last time. Just treat it like a new fight. Win this fight, and then if it goes to the third, win the third fight. Unless we're able to stop him. And yeah, I got that stoppage, man. I was so happy to get that stoppage. Dude, he's good, man. He's really good. He wasn't getting any love or any attention this week, or like nobody was giving that guy a shot. I watched him. I'm like, okay, he got thrown to a tough opponent on 9 days notice for his debut, and he was winning that fight until he got, you know, caught, kind of gassed and got caught. Like the guy took the fight on 9 days notice, and then he beat like another killer in his next fight. I'm like, they're not like, this guy isn't the Cam that everyone thinks he is. You know, a bunch of people were saying like, oh, I have no idea who this guy is. They're just, you know, what you know, kind of almost treating it like I'm supposed to walk through this guy, which is a little bit of pressure. I'm like, dude, this is not a guy you just walk through. This guy's good. So good striker, good wrestler, good grappler. Just had to tell myself, you know, I've put in all the preparation. I'm elite everywhere as well, and I think I can beat this guy anywhere. And I felt like I showed I beat him everywhere. You know, he's a wrestler. DC in the broadcast interview, he's like all over this guy. Oh, he's a wrestler, man. You see him on top. What are you going to do when he gets on top of you? I'm like, what do you mean when he gets on top of me? Like, he's going to have to take me down first. Like, it's not a guaranteed thing this guy's going to wrestle me. I can wrestle too, dude. So that was so funny. I mean, it's like, you know, wrestlers stick with wrestlers a bunch. So there's some, you know, common love there from them, I'm sure. But yeah, that was fun. I thought that was funny.
I have to ask about the walkout, the barrier collapsing, nearly falling on you. How much were you like noticing what exactly happened in that moment? Because you're obviously very focused on the walkout and the fight. Did you realize like how crazy that whole moment was?
I noticed it for like a quarter of a second. It fell. I kind of like jumped to the side, stepped over the gate. I was like, one, that sucks for them. Two, don't think about it. Stay focused. And like, immediately forgot about it afterwards. I didn't remember it happened until one of our cornermen brought up the video, because one of my cornermen, the gate fell on him, like hit him in the hip. Yeah, he's all right. But I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize. Like, I don't know, it kind of, I had, you know, bigger fish to fry. I had the biggest fight of my life in front of me. I was focused on that. But like, fuck, man, that would have been a shitty way for that fight to not have happened. Fall on your knee and just like on your way to the hospital or something like that. That would have sucked.
Just last from me, as you're watching that card unfold and you're seeing Canadian win, is the pressure building up knowing that you're going to be last? And you're like, man, I can't be the only one to let the fans down here. I got to complete the sweep.
So I had visualized every scenario heading up to this fight. Ones where all the Canadians won. How does that pressure feel? Or how do I feel about that? Ones where all the Canadians lose. How do I feel about that? Ones where some of my teammates win and some don't, or it's a mix. Like, how do I feel going into that? And I think I did a pretty good job of letting go of, you know, being obviously super proud of how the Canadians held themselves today. Like, we really held the fort down, man. That was incredible. But I was like, look, I can look at this as my mental coach, Danny Patterson, would say, pressure's a perspective. So I could have viewed that as like, well, I have to be the one to win. I can't be the one to ruin the night, which clearly there's a little bit of that. But, you know, had it been the other way where everyone lost, it's like, dude, I definitely can't lose and let Canada lose all of its fights. Like, I got to, you know, somebody's got to win. And you know, you could have viewed that as pressure. But I was like, you know what? Everyone's done super well. The fans are warmed up. No pressure, man. And this isn't pressure. This is privilege. I get to fight in front of Canadians in Canada on the world stage. There's nothing to feel pressure about. I'm so privileged. Just kind of like take a moment. They're like, we're back for you in 5 minutes. And just kind of like, as corny as it is, like look myself in the mirror and before I walk out and just be like, hey man, forget results. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself. Like looking in the mirror, just like, you're here. You wanted to do this since you were a little kid, since you were like, and you made it happen. So just go have fun, enjoy yourself, take all this in, be present, don't zone out, don't let the pressure get to you, but enjoy this, man. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is truly an amazing night.
Mike in front right here. Andre Feely tweeted, "You're the next GSP," and he refers to you as the Canadian Connor. So I guess what do the UFC have in you moving forward? Like, what do you think they can? You're the one that'll spearhead this next wave of Canadian superstars.
Number one, shout out to Andre Feely. I love you, brother. Number two, I'm not the next GSP. No, there will never be another GSP. GSP's the greatest of all time. He's truly a legend. I could never replace that man. Clearly, like, I'm nowhere near his accolades. Like, the guy's got, triple the title defenses that I have wins in the UFC. So let's, definitely no way I'm comparing myself to him. And I don't want to be the next year. I want first Mike Malott. I love how I fight. I love my style. It's completely different from his, but I take so much inspiration from him. I had a GSP poster in my room as a kid and idolized that man. And, one of my cornermen told me he was watching and he was there and he, stood up and was, celebrating when I won. I'm like, dude, that's so sick. Like, that's George St. Pierre, dude. I don't know what the rest of the question was, but I hope I answered it.
He refers to you as the Canadian Connor.
The Canadian Connor. No, man. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm a lot like him either. Again, I'm the first Mike. I've been saying I'm getting that 10th stoppage. People call him Mystic Mac, and I told my coaches, I'm like, I'm getting that stoppage, and these are the ways it's going to likely happen, and one of my coaches, Chris Prickett, said something. He's like, "Oh, Mystic Mike predicted it." I'm like, "No, man." The thing I've been telling myself all camp is like, "No, I don't predict things. I create them. I make things happen. Like, I'm not predicting this stoppage. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to create."
Right here.
Oh, what's up, James?
How's it going? Kind of looking back at how everything sort of unfolded this week, like we talked about this, you really like thrive in this, doing all the media, being sort of at the forefront of this card and everything. Did it live up to everything you imagined, like looking back now?
Dude, it was 99% perfect. Had I won that NHL 94 game against...
I was going to say, did that rattle you at all? Was that on your mind tonight?
Had I won that game, it would have been a perfect week, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. And, again, like I know the focus was totally on your opponent tonight and everything like that. Do you have an idea of when you want to have that next fight, or is it just, take some time, enjoy the moment, and then sort of reassess?
My focus wasn't even remotely on my opponent. My focus was on myself and the process and this moment. Tonight, I give respect to everyone I fight, and I analyze them as much as I feel necessary. But there's a reason I didn't really use his name, because it's not really about him. I didn't talk. I've never talked trash about anybody. I've just said how I feel, and I've been honest, and I prefer to talk about myself rather than other people. Not to be conceited, but it's just I'm not talking about him. He's a great fighter, but this was Canadian MMA's show, so I want to talk about how this was our show, man. This was our coming home party again. This was us coming home. This was us getting to finally feel that again. And everybody showed up. Everybody showed up in the audience. The fans showed up. The fans were amazing. The fighters were amazing. Everybody. I really hope. Here's what I ask for. I hope all the Canadians who fought tonight get a performance bonus, because that was pretty special, man. Every Canadian won on the card. Has that ever happened?
Yes, yeah.
It has?
Yeah.
Well, that seems less special now.
No. You guys got to get a photo together, though. I think someone suggested that on Twitter. You got to round everyone up here tonight.
Yeah.
We can get that together. Speaking of Canadians, and his name was mentioned earlier, did you know George St. Pierre was cage side for the fight tonight? Did you know that?
I didn't know before, but Chris Prickett, my wrestling coach, told me. He's like, dude, I didn't want to, nudge you and tell you before the fight, but I saw him as we were walking out, and I was just like laser focused down the barrel, getting to the cage. But yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
And just last one for me. Do you have an opponent in mind next? I mean, I think now the rankings are kind of what I think you're sort of looking at right now.
What's next for me, man, is I'm moving. My fiance and I just bought a house in Font Hill. We're moving. I need a little bit of a break, dude. I had the Fury grappling match against Trevin Giles, who's another UFC welterweight. I beat him December 30th, trained for that, beat him January 1st, started camp. So the day after he flew back, started camp for Johan Lanus, won that fight, called for the UFC to come back to Canada. And I'm like, oh, hopefully at some point this year, Canada, they'll come back to Canada. I ended my interview with someone and they turned to me and said, they're coming to Vancouver June 10th, just so you know. And I'm like, shit, okay, well, I guess I'm going back to the gym next week to get right back into training for June 10th. So basically since November, it's been date, pedal to the metal the whole time. I need a little bit of a break. I love you, Dave Hirschbein, my manager, but I'm probably going to block your phone number. I don't want to hear from you. Don't talk to me for like a month, maybe a little bit longer. I'm cornering Andre Feely in London, July 22nd. So looking forward to that. And then probably after that, we can start looking for something again. Anybody else? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was UFC welterweight Mike Malott coming off a big submission win over Beneil Dariush. And we're MMAfighting.com, best website in the business. I'm Jed Mashu. Let's see Casey Leiden. And we're here. It's post UFC 289. You just jumped in. We're going to be with you for the rest of the night, basically. We got the presser up. We've got Jose Young, boots on the ground, asking great questions, doing great things. And in the meantime, while we wait for the next fighter to come up, you got me and Casey to talk about 289 until we do the post show. But it looks like we don't have time to talk. UFC President Dana White.
Was $5.14 million. The attendance was 17,628. Sold out. Fight of the night was Eric Anders and Andre Oliveira. Won performance of the night, obviously. Malott, you still in here? Yeah. You got it, kid. You won the 50,000. Yeah. Yeah, you. Yeah! Congrats. Go! And Steve Ercik, that kid came in, fought a top 10 guy. Didn't finish, didn't whatever, but what a badass performance by him. I'm going to give him $50,000 too because he's a stud. Go ahead. What do you got?
I mean, obviously got to start with Amanda, a fantastic performance by her. She looked amazing all round,
Yep.
Wrestling, striking, and then obviously announced her retirement. I'm curious about your immediate reaction to her performance and the fact that she's deciding to walk away.
Yeah. First of all, she looked incredible. An amazing performance, completely shut her down. I think one of the guys were telling me tonight that it was the most punches landed or something like that. So she broke 2 records tonight. I think that was the most punches she's ever landed. And I think she passed Sarah McMahon tonight for takedowns. So more records for her. And I'm not shocked that she retired. I've been saying for a while, she's made a lot of money and, her life is a lot different than it was 10 years ago.
It's kind of weird, right? Because obviously she's achieved everything. She's done it all, but it's looking so easy for her,
Yeah.
She could continue beating these girls and making more money. Are you happy that she's walking away? Are you happy to see her go away? Or do you think, come on, there's probably a couple more for you?
Well, I got to take it the same way I took Lorenzo retiring. No, I wasn't happy when Lorenzo retired either, but he said, you know what, this is what I want. Be happy for me. So this must be what Amanda wants. So then I'm definitely happy for her. Would I like to see her stick around and do some more? Absolutely. I love the kid. She's been incredible to work with. She's such a good human being and a great champion. And obviously the greatest female fighter of all time. I'd love to keep her around. But if she's ready to go, then you got to be happy for her.
I mean, with her retiring, this only just came to me, but with her retiring, the featherweight title, could that potentially retire with her? It's a division that hasn't really got that many females in it, or are you going to just try and keep it going, keep trying to sign new talent?
The answer is probably yes. I mean, I don't make these decisions right after a fight. you know, she told me when she walked over to the side of the cage that she was retiring. So, yeah, I don't know, but it makes sense.
And Charles Oliveira, you know, counted out by a lot of people.
100%.
Beneil Dariush comes in there, first round finish, looked great with the head kicks. I mean, this guy really is one of the best lightweights of all time, probably.
I agree. Yeah, incredible performance, especially against, you know, Beneil, who a lot of people thought was going to win this fight. And, yeah, incredible.
Last one for me. A barrier fell down nearly on to Mike, actually. I'm curious if you heard about that. Was anyone hurt? And
It was during his walkout, and no, nobody was seriously hurt. A couple minor injuries. You know, the arena handled it immediately, you know, roped it off, got security up there, moved people to better seats, and handled it like a bunch of pros. So
is that just another time that someone comes and tells you something's happened and you're like, oh, shit, and we
What?
just keep... Is this just another incident where someone tells you, hey, a barrier's fallen down, and you just have to go, okay, well, let's roll with it?
Well, you guys have no idea all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes every single Saturday. So this is just, you know, this played out on the other side of the curtain, and you got to see this. But there's stuff that happens every single Saturday, and we deal with it on the fly every weekend.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yep.
Is there a health update on Chris Curtis?
Is there a what?
Health update on Chris Curtis? Second fight in a row, he got a headbutt.
Yeah, he's okay. We haven't heard. There's no. We got Irene Aldana out of here immediately to go to the hospital, get checked out. But yeah, we don't have anything. Haven't heard anything negative.
At the press conference on Thursday, you said at the time it made sense for the winner of Charles and Beneil might fight Islam. Islam obviously tweeted at Charles after his win. So
Right.
At what point do you have to sit down and decide what is next?
Tuesday.
So in that same conversation, you can figure out what's next for the bantamweight title too, I would imagine. Now that
We got a lot of things to work on Tuesday now.
would it be safe to say that Juliana would be at least part of that fight?
It would make a lot of sense.
And the final one for me, unrelated to this fight card. I believe you guys are doing a fight card on Mexican Independence Day, correct?
That's what the word is. That's what all the reporters are telling me.
At the T-Mobile Arena, would it make sense to have Alexa Grasso on that fight card?
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah, a bunch of other Mexicans too.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Dana over here. Dana, right in the middle.
Hi.
Looked like it was a great event tonight, just with everything that unfolded. And you guys have been back to Vancouver now twice in a row as far as Canadian cards go. Do you see this as sort of an annual destination just with the reception? And I mean, you heard the pop for Charles tonight, who's not even Canadian. You must be pretty encouraged by that.
I agree. It's like we were in Brazil. I mean, from the first time he walked out at the press conference to tonight, obviously loved. Yeah, and listen, I love Vancouver. Vancouver's awesome, but this is Canada. This is what it's like everywhere we go in Canada. Canada has been a very good place for us to go. This country's been very good to us since the beginning. And yeah, we're going to move around, but Vancouver's always going to be a destination. This arena treats us well. The city's been great. The people in Canada are the best. I mean, there's not a lot of negative things you can say about coming to Canada. We did a $5.14 million gate, sold out 17,628. I mean, it just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I mean, everything about this country is awesome.
What about Mike Malott? He really stole the show this week, in my opinion, with his interviews. He did a lot of media. He was sort of thriving under it, and he goes out there and gets, an A+ performance, finishing.
Yeah, being Canadian didn't hurt either.
Well, that too. That brings me to my next question. Do you see Mike as someone that you'll use going forward to put on these Canadian cards? Because it seems like the fans really connect with them.
Listen, you can come on to the Contender Series, and that's a big step up. You have to perform that night, right then, right there. You have to show us what you got. It's another whole different level when you come into your home country, you're on the main card. You have to go in and deliver. He absolutely positively showed us who he is tonight. And the answer to your question is yes, this kid's for real.
And just last one for me. I know it was down between Vancouver and Calgary. Is Calgary a place you're going to revisit, or do you see yourself going somewhere else?
We're going to go everywhere. But the place that makes – go ahead.
I was just going to say Toronto. I mean, a lot of the fighters that were on this card are from Ontario. Do you see Toronto as a possible destination just with everything that's going on? You said yes, so I'm taking
yes. Yes, sir. That's where we should go next.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Yep.
And just to circle back to Amanda, obviously a legendary career. Do you have, any favorite memory, maybe a favorite fight of hers that you enjoyed, or maybe a behind-the-scenes anecdote you can share?
Not really. It's just every time I've ever dealt with her, she's one of the greatest human beings ever. I like her very much, not only as a fighter, but as a human being and as a friend. Her and I have had a very good relationship her entire time here. I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for her family. And, without sounding condescending, I'm very proud of her and what she's accomplished.
Yeah. Do you feel like this is one of those retirements that's going to stick?
What?
Like, do you think?
Oh yeah. Oh, she definitely. Yeah. Listen. Everybody spins every fucking thing I say. So, I kind of felt this. She's made a very good living. She's got a lot of money. She's going to be good. And I think you asked me. It was like you said something like, why now when she looks so good and whatever. She looked great and she came out and performed. But I think it's all the things before you get here tonight. You know what I mean? That you have to go through and that you have to do that has made her decide to retire, in my opinion. But she'll be out here in a few minutes. You can ask her, what the hell do I know?
Right. And going back to Charles as well, first fighter to reach 20 finishes in the UFC, which is just a remarkable accomplishment. Like, can you maybe put into context how phenomenal that is? And just to have a guy who's been doing this for almost 13 years in the UFC at this level, 2 weight classes, and just accomplishing all he has.
Yeah. And if you look at how that guy turned his career around, from like 2016 to today, he's a completely different fighter. What he has accomplished in the last however many years it's been is unbelievable. What is it, like 7-8 years? I mean, it's amazing what he's done, and he looked like a world beater tonight. And I'm excited for him and Islam to fight again.
So that's what you're leaning towards.
No, I mean, I'm just saying it's a thing that makes sense. I'll tell you on Tuesday. But yeah, I mean, let's not play games. That fight makes sense. That's the fight that should happen, and I'm excited to see it again.
How much of Islam's input do you take into that? I know you and Mick and Hunter and Sean will get in a room and talk about it, but he said, I think yesterday to Daniel Cormier when they did an interview, like he wants to fight a fresh opponent, the idea of doing another rematch right now. If he tells you that and says, maybe look at Gaethje and Poirier or something like that, do you take that into consideration?
There's a lot of things that go into consideration for the next fight. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you about him right now. I don't even know what's wrong with him. He's in medicals. I don't know where he's at. I don't know what he's got planned over the summer. The list goes on and on of things that factor into how fights are made. So, but I'm just telling you right here, right now, that, it's a fight I'd like to see again.
Yeah, and just last thing for me, I don't know if you saw the kind of viral clip of Conor McGregor at the NBA Finals last night, and how apparently that second punch sent the mascot to the ER or something like that. What do you make of that whole?
I saw the Deontay Wilder one too. What's up with mascots wanting to get punched in the face by professional fighters? What do you expect? You want to get punched? I mean, what are those mascot things made out of? Unless you're like the Golden Knights mascot, I wouldn't be. I don't even know what the hell he wears, but I'm assuming it's a metal helmet. I wouldn't have professional fighters punching me in the face if I was a mascot. And doesn't seem like the brightest thing in the world.
Actually, just last night, speaking of the Golden Knights, obviously you have deep ties in Vegas. If they're able to get this last one and win the Stanley Cup, what do you think that kind of?
It's so huge for the city. For people that don't live in Vegas and don't understand. It's huge in Vegas. Huge. It's almost like Canada, man. I mean, as big as hockey is here, that's how big the team is in Vegas. So it's obviously incredible for the city, and yeah, it's great. I'm happy for him.
Dana, yeah, obviously 5 Canadian fighters winning on the card, a bunch of them big underdogs too, seemingly. Just thoughts on all of them kind of rising. Like, what was it about this show that made they kind of seem to ride this wave and feed off each other?
I felt like, and I don't know if you guys felt it, I don't know how long you guys have been in town. Some of you are from here, but there was a good buzz and energy this whole week here. The press conference was awesome. The weigh-ins were awesome. And then obviously the energy tonight. And, Canada has always been a place where there's been tons of talented fighters. We went through a little bit of a drought there after GSP, but Canada is back on the rise. So everybody showed up and performed tonight.
And what do you think a show like this does in terms of further fostering talent that's up and coming here?
Yeah, it's what I've said since day one. When you go in and you put on a live event, there's this explosion of, people start to train, people start to, these young kids start doing mixed martial arts. And, it happened and a lot of these kids that you're seeing today have been training for years. But the business goes like this when it comes to talent in different markets. It'll be hot when we had nobody from Mexico. We almost had 4 champions at the same time tonight. So, just the way that it rolls. When we first went to Australia, we had Elvis Sinisic. Now, I mean, some of the greatest talent in the world is coming out of Australia. So,
and then just last about Charles, the crowd's going nuts for him all week. What is it about him that resonates with so many people? I mean, like you say, a Brazilian in Canada and he's getting a crazy pop.
Well, it's like we were just talking about. I mean, if you look what the guy has done since 2016, he's completely turned his career around. He's one of the nicest human beings in the world. He's fun to watch fight. He finishes. He goes for, if he'll stand and bang with you, or he'll go to the ground and try to submit you. He's a fun guy to watch, and he's a great person. So why not like him?
Dana, just one over here to your left.
Yep.
Thrilling night for Charles Oliveira means a very disappointing night for Beneil Dariush. He had said over the week that he had been assured a title shot if he wins. What sort of role do you see him playing in the lightweight division coming off of this loss?
I don't know. He just lost. I have no idea. I mean, this is one of those things for him. He's been waiting for this opportunity. He's got to go home, get with his team, get with his family. There's a lot that plays out on his side on what he wants to do next and where his head's at. And then we'll figure that out. But I don't even talk about that stuff the night of the fight. I mean, the guy just lost probably the most heartbreaking loss in his entire career. So he's got a lot of stuff he needs to deal with mentally, emotionally, and whatever else.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, right here in the middle. Just a couple quick ones. August 5th, there's been talk of a Nashville card. Is that official?
What'd you say?
August 5th, there was talk of a Nashville card. Is that official?
Did we announce that?
Don't think you have yet. And Justin Gagey did an interview recently where he talked about the BMF title, and he said, that's the promotion kind of throwing us a bone. They treat that like a title, and he talked about perks, maybe pay-per-view points. Is that more than just bragging rights? Does the promotion treat the BMF champ as a champ?
Well, you guys know how this whole thing started. We had that Masvidal Diaz fight. It made sense. It was fun, and then we're in the matchmaking room again, and we started talking about this fight, and it made sense again, and it's fun with both of these guys. So we did it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want me to? What's the question for me? Are there pay-per-view points and stuff like that involved?
Without
in
going
it?
into specifics, I know you can't talk contracts or anything, but
Well, I could. I just don't want to.
but I mean, are there perks beyond just bragging rights?
I mean, listen, they're a main event on a pay-per-view card, and I'm sure they're both going to do very well.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Dana, right here.
Yep.
There's been a recent resurgence in Irish mixed martial arts with Conor on The Ultimate Fighter, Ian Gary breaking into the welterweight rankings, and outside of the UFC, we've got multiple world champions as well.
Yep.
When is the right time for you to come back to Ireland? It seems like a real good time right now.
That's a great question. We're just getting back to Canada, and we're 2 hours away. You know what I mean? When you think about where the world has been for the last 3 years or whatever it's been, there's so many places for us to still get out to that we haven't been to in a while. But Ireland is definitely one of them. I mean, one of the greatest events I've ever been a part of was in Ireland. The night that Conor won that fight there, and literally the entire stadium threw their beers up in the air, and it was one of the coolest events I've ever been to. So Ireland is a place that we definitely want to get back to, and let's see what happens with Ian and what we can do there.
There was rumors that you tried to book the Tree Arena for the end of this year, possibly the start of next year.
There's lots of rumors about us booking arenas right now. I want to go back to Ireland.
Thank you.
Yes. You good?
One final one. Have you talked to Juliana after the?
No, I bet she's really pissed off right now. Though she's probably running around Vancouver like a lunatic right now.
She's been tweeting a lot.
I bet she has. Yeah. No, I don't want to run into Juliana. Yeah.
Is there any movement on the Colby Covington and Leon Edwards fight?
Nope. Thanks for asking. Have a great night. Thank you, Canada. We appreciate you.
UFC President Dana White, and I got a feeling we might just be cooking here. I mean, it might take a while for Nunes to come up because she is living the life, Casey, but I suspect we will be getting Chucky Alice before too terribly long. So while we got the time, Amanda Nunes, pretty good, huh? Pretty good at that whole fist fighting thing.
Yeah, she's good. She should do this more, but I guess she's not. It's just her mom told her you can't fight anymore.
Look, moms are undefeated in MMA. No, you can't beat Amanda Nunes. You can't beat Khabib. You know who can beat them both? Their moms. Can't beat them. Just how it goes. It looks like we're getting somebody. I'm going to assume it's. Oh yes,
Oh wow.
It is Doe Bronx looking fresh. Let's listen to the former UFC lightweight.
Well, Charles, you think you need a translator for this press conference after that?
Você acha que vai precisar de tradutor ainda?
Yeah. My English is little.
Thank you, Charles. Well, first of all, congratulations on the victory. Another first-round stoppage. You're actually the first fighter to reach 20 finishes in the UFC. I'm curious if you were aware of that and what that record means to you.
Primeiro de tudo, parabéns pela vitória. Mais uma vez, uma vitória no primeiro round. Você é o primeiro lutador da história do UFC a chegar em 20 vitórias, 20 finishes, né? Ou seja, 20 finalizações. Como é que você se sente em relação a isso?
Olha, gratidão, a palavra-chave é gratidão. Gratidão a Deus por tudo que vem me deixando realizar. Voltamos de novo ao game, voltamos de novo ao caminho da vitória. E ainda poder, como eu falei, não quero deixar para um dos juízes. É um round, eu preciso de um round. Da minha mão entra, as coisas acontecem. Graças a Deus, mais uma vez, eu pude vir lá e fazer minha história.
Grateful, thankful to God for all the opportunity that I've had. Just so grateful to be here. I've said this all along that I only need a round, and I said to many people, when my hand gets in, good things happen, and that's happened.
It was an exciting fight as long as it lasted. He was on top of you for quite a bit before you got up and finished him. Did the fight play out as you expected, and did Beneil surprise you with anything?
Obviamente, o fato dela ter durado pouco não significa que foi extremamente bacana a luta, foi muito empolgante, tudo que ela durou, obviamente. Teve uma hora que ele te colocou pro chão, e depois disso você levantou e fez o que fez. Como é que foi essa dinâmica de você ter ficado embaixo? O que aconteceu?
Não é porque a luta foi rápida que foi uma luta chata ou uma luta... Tá ligado? Calma. Não, eu só ando pra frente, só faz acontecer. Eu falei, eu preciso caçar, eu tô caçando, né? Eu errei no cálculo de queda, ele acabou me colocando pra baixo. Eu levantei de novo e continuei caçando. Foi o que eu falei, eu preciso de um round, eu quero um round. Eu vou caçar, eu vou botar minha mão. Foi o que aconteceu, Deus me abençoou.
Obviously, it's not because a fight was that quick that is not exciting. I actually miscalculated that fall. I ended up falling under him. But that's what I do. I get up and I said, I'm going to keep pushing forward. I told people that this is exactly what happened. God bless me. And I just kept getting at him.
Dana White was just in here, and we asked him about, you and Islam again. He said that's a fight that he would like to see again, but he has to get with his team Tuesday. But to him, that fight makes sense. So is that the fight you're going to be pushing for immediately now?
Perguntamos pro Dana White sobre essa luta contra o Islam. Ele falou, na minha opinião, a luta entre você e o Islam é a luta que idealmente tem que acontecer. Ele vai conversar na terça-feira para ver o que vai acontecer. Essa é a luta que você quer, então?
Olha, eu quero ser campeão campeão. Quem é o campeão? Ele tá com o cinturão? Se é isso, vamos embora. Mas de verdade, como eu te falei, não quero nem se preocupar com isso. Deixa que a minha equipe se preocupa com isso. Eu só quero voltar para casa, ficar pouco com a minha filha e depois voltar a treinar.
Look, who's got the champ? Who's got the belt? He's got the belt, and I want to be a champion, so I have to go through him. Of course, I want to fight him, but right now I don't want to worry about it. I want to go back to my family, go back home, relax a little bit, and let my team decide that.
You jumped up on the octagon cage at the very end before you left, and you were openly crying with your hands on your face. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Depois da luta, você subiu, ficou pendurado lá e colocou as mãos na cabeça enquanto você chorava. O que estava passando na tua cabeça?
Olha, é como se fosse um filme, né? Eu tava vindo, a maioria das minhas derrotas foi aqui, né? E você poder vir da forma que eu vim, ser aplaudido de pé pela torcida, parecia que eu tava dentro da comunidade, parecia que eu tava no Brasil. Sabe, isso são coisas que nunca vai ser esquecidas. Então, eu tentei me controlar na hora da entrada, mas eu acabei chorando, e aí eu respirei de novo para poder ficar no caminho da vitória. Eu fui lá e venci, e aí no final, depois de tudo que foi falado, você poder subir e você ser aplaudido de pé, isso são coisas que nunca vai ficar essa história. Sou brasileiro, hoje sei que, tá minha torcida do mundo inteiro, mas poder você vir aqui em Vancouver, no Canadá, numa sequência que você tá vindo de, nunca ter vencido aqui, você vencer e ser aplaudido dessa forma, eu nunca vou esquecer disso.
This is a movie that went through my head. I know that a majority of my losses have been here. So for me to actually be here and have a standing ovation, everybody was just standing and applauding me and cheering. So it was just an amazing feeling. I usually try to keep my composure, just keep going and focus on the fight. But I let my emotions get me because it was so amazing. It felt like I was in the community. It felt like I was actually back at home. As a Brazilian, it felt like I was not miles and miles away from home. And afterwards, when to win here after so many losses, and even with the losses, and them they were applauding me all, even with that in my back, what happened before, right, in retrospect, for them to still applaud me like that, and afterwards, I mean, I just let it go. It's something that I'm never gonna forget in my whole life.
Final one for me, I have to ask your reaction to Amanda retiring. Obviously, she was a great Brazilian champion, and both belts now. She's vacated and she's no longer competing. What are your thoughts on her career and what you saw in there?
Última pergunta minha, obviamente, sobre a Amanda, que a Amanda acaba de se aposentar, uma campeã dupla. Qual que é a sua palavra sobre a Amanda depois de ser aposentada?
Olha, de verdade, merece todo o respeito do mundo, né? Vai fazer falta para todo mundo. Dois cinturões brasileiros, né? E agora vão ficando vagos. Mas de verdade, que Deus abençoe a vida dela, a história dela. Continue sendo lembrada como sempre foi lembrada. Hoje fez uma grande luta, né? Ganhou o round por mais sequência de pontos que foi feito. Então, merece todo o respeito do mundo. Que Deus continue, né, falando cada vez mais. São tudo fases, são tudo tempos, né? São tudo momentos. Então, acho que ela colocou na cabeça dela que já tá bom pra ela. Se tá bom pra ela, tá bom pro povo brasileiro, tá tudo bom pra todo mundo que tá aqui. Que Deus abençoe a vida dela e continue andando pra frente.
Someone that's going to be missed in MMA. Obviously, the fight itself, you saw what happened. She broke a record in significant strikes, so she came to play a double champion. Someone that represents Brazil, represents MMA, and she just decided right now, just like she decided to continue to fight and be a champion, she decided this was the time to go, and may God bless her and whatever comes next for her. She represents just not the people of Brazil, but in a global audience, and just very happy for her for everything that happened. And if it's good for her, and if it's all settled down for her, and this is it for her, it's settled for the Brazilian people. 2 vacant titles, and we're going to go after them.
Charles, over here. There was a stat going into tonight about how you had never won in Canada. You get the win here tonight. What does that mean to you to break that streak, or does that not mean anything to you?
Obviamente, aquilo de você ter tido 4 derrotas aqui no Canadá e agora você simplesmente vai lá e vence. O que isso significou ou não significava nada para você?
Olha, na realidade, tudo fase, tudo momentos. São fases, são momentos. Foram momentos ruins da minha carreira, na onde que eu pude ter uma família gigantesca que falou, respira, vamos fazer acontecer. São tudo fases. Aquela época, quando eu vim pra cá, tava frio, agora tá calor. Aquela época, quando eu vim pra lá, o cabelo não era louro. Não era louro, não era branquinho, hoje tá branquinho. Aquela época não era minha família, shootbox, Diego Lima, não era isso. É tudo fase, é tudo momento. É um novo Charles, é um novo momento da minha carreira, é uma nova vida. Eu tô feliz demais.
Everything is phases, everything is moments, everything is stages in your life, and that was a different moment of my life. Things change as these phases change. I mean, think go back to losses that I've had. It was cold every time I came. It wasn't cold this time. I didn't have blonde hair. Not that it's blonde, it's silver, but my hair was different too. I didn't have the family issue with the box with Diego Lima. Now I do. Everything is phases. Everything is stages. Everything is just different steps in your life. It's a new Charles, and it's a new person.
Did you know that George St. Pierre was cage side watching your fight?
Você viu que o GSP estava lá? O Jorge St. Pierre estava olhando para tua luta?
Cara, Jorge St. Pierre é um dos grandes nomes, pra mim um dos melhores que já lutou. Cara que fez a história toda que fez. Quem ele perdeu, ele já foi lá e já bateu de novo. Né? Um cara que tinha parado e voltou como campeão. Pô, eu não sabia como ele tava aí. Se tivesse aí, seria um prazer também bater uma foto. Sou grande fã.
Obviously, a great fan, a big fan of what he's done. One of the greatest MMA fighters ever. Someone that went through. He actually lost with Doug Face and then came back for a title. He's done that before, so he's been one of the greatest. And I did not know that the man was there. If I had known the man was there, I would have said hi because I'm a great fan of him.
And just last one for me, the focus is on that rematch with Islam Makhachev. I know you didn't want to talk about it pre-fight, but now that that's what's next, what would you do differently in the rematch?
A luta contra o Islam Makhachev já se falou muito sobre você lutar contra ele novamente. Não vou entrar nesse mérito agora, mas a questão é o que você faria diferente se você lutasse contra o Islam próximo?
Nada, eu não vou fazer nada. Eu vou ser simplesmente seu Charles, só isso.
Nothing. I wouldn't do nothing. I would just simply be Charles. That would be it.
Why did you start learning English?
Por que você começou a aprender inglês? Well, you don't need me for that one.
Eu tô tentando aprender inglês, é difícil, mas eu tenho que tentar aprender, eu tenho que falar, sabe? É completamente é difícil, mas é mais fácil para você se comunicar, mais fácil para as pessoas entender. Eu sou muito próximo do meu público, sou muito próximo do meu fã, então às vezes tem que ficar usando o Google Tradutor, às vezes eu escrevo, né, a equipe fala tá errado, o Google Tradutor errou, então eu tenho que aprender, eu vou aprender, devagarzinho eu aprendo.
I gotta learn. Slowly but surely, you gotta learn. It's difficult because there's a lot of steps to do that, but it's so important to actually connect with people, to be able to just kind of, go navigate through life. And I'm so close to my fans, so it would be bringing them even closer. I'm always using Google Translate, or I'm talking to the team, kind of says, oh, this is incorrect. Listen, it slowly but surely, but I'm learning.
Who taught you the phrase "show me the money"?
E quem foi que te ensinou Show Me the Money?
A equipe, né? Show me the money, brother. Let's go.
The team, man.
Charles, there was a great moment on the Embedded series where you shared that your parents were on a fast while you were weight cutting. Is that something that your parents do for each and every weight cut?
Teve momento na série do Embedded que você compartilhou que os teus pais fazem jejum com você quando você está cortando peso. Isso é uma coisa que é feita durante todos os jejuns? Pra corte?
Todas as vezes da mesma forma. Todas as vezes meus pais, eles ficam nesse time gigante. Eu falo, não precisa, mas eles querem acompanhar o sofrimento. Eles sabem o quanto que é difícil, então eles fazem do jeito deles, né? É importante para mim saber que eles estão cada vez mais próximos de mim, sabe? Hoje na ligação, meu pai, quando eu tava vindo pra cá, ele sempre falou assim, que eu falei pra ele, não fica nervoso, fica tranquilo. Ele falou, o nervosismo já passou, era só a pesagem, agora eu tô em paz, então só vai lá e brilha. Então só foi isso que eu fiz, só queria ir lá e brilhar.
They always do that. There's always it's something they've been doing, and it's so cool to actually have that happen, and it's so important for them to be close to me. We go closer to each other because of that fast. But for every fast, every fight, they've actually done that in their own way. But they get into the same timing for the fights, and it brings us closer. Before the fight today, we spoke to my dad, and he was saying that don't be nervous, be calm. It's like the most nervous moment, it's the weight cut. We passed that. I'm calm. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna shine. So I'm gonna do.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy your meal with your parents when you get back to Brazil.
Muito obrigado, e espero que você aproveite a primeira refeição com seus pais quando você voltar ao Brasil.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
And that was former UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira, who scored an absolutely sensational win over Beneil Dariush, almost as good as his jacket right there, Casey. As we wait for, I am assuming the only thing we have left on this card is Amanda Nunes, and that could be an hour, could be 2 minutes. Who can say? So as we wait for that, let's talk about old Chucky Olives. First round finish of Beneil Dariush. Overcame kind of a tough start to the round, just got him on the feet and just clubbed him right and proper, and then finished the drill. I guess let's start here. Are you okay? Are you happy with Charles Oliveira getting a title shot from this, Casey?
Oh, absolutely. I have no issue with it. Am I missing somebody? Am I missing a number one?
The obvious other number one contender would be the winner of Gaethje Poirier at 291, or I think that's the number. Yeah.
I just find it. I think timing wise, maybe it just lines up right. I'm not as good as the timing up the things with the pay-per-views and everything.
Timing certainly lines up better for Oliveira than Gaethje and Poirier, who are going to beat the souls out of each other.
Yeah, like it's highly unlikely that either of those gentlemen will be able to make a quick return from that fight. So unless I'm missing somebody.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really that. I mean,
yeah. I was like, am I forgetting something? But I was forgetting Dariush, but Dariush is out now.
But I guess there is also a world, which I think Mike Heck brought up at some point. I mean, look, we know that Michael Chandler is supposed to fight Conor McGregor, but that fight is not booked. And we don't know when it's going to get booked, frankly. So if the UFC says, hey, we really need somebody to come fight Abu Dhabi, Chandler, big star. Yes, he's coming off a loss, but we know that this isn't a meritocracy. There's like a world where that could happen, but it's realistically the number one contender was Beneil Dariush. He got a raw deal having to take this fight. The worst outcome for him happened, and I'm now pretty okay with it, right? Like I sort of don't want it holistically, like in this broad idea of less than a year ago, Charles Oliveira got thumped. Like It was arguably the easiest fight of Islam's UFC career.
I saw the Dan Hooker fight. Don't worry. I mean, but I know what you
I
mean.
mean, yeah, it was all on that same Bobby Greendale, like that same level of just nothing for him. Now, granted, the rest of his body of work, the fact that he has wins over all the other guys who might be in that conversation, and a sensational performance tonight does a lot. But to me, it really is the factor of the timeline. Like we know Islam is going to be fighting at the Abu Dhabi card, and Charles makes the most sense. My bigger issue is not that they will run it back. I have a broader fear that we start to waste what may or may not be a long time. I have no idea how long Islam will stay around, but my gut says he won't be a guy who's going to intentionally try to fight for another 5 years. Doesn't seem to be sort of how they view the game. And I don't want, what might be a limited number of title fights for him to just be, all right, we're going to run back Charles Oliveira and then we're going to run back Volkanovski. And it's like, okay, but what if he fought other people? That'd be pretty cool. So that's my only concern, but I think the timeline matches up. And I mean, after that performance, how do you say no? How do you say no to Charles Oliveira really at this point? So I think he's going to get it.
I saw you commented on my tweet about what I want to see. I'd love to see Chucky Olives versus Max Holloway at lightweight as a rematch, and that winner would obviously be, I think, perfectly in line to fight Islam if he's still the champ by that point. But
1,000% agree.
Yeah, timing is everything in this sport. Dana says it all the time. It is very true. Timing is everything, and it does seem to line up with Chucky Olives and Islam. So no issues, but
let me tell you, if something happens, and I'm not putting this, knock on wood, not putting this out into the world, something happens and we don't get Gaethje and Poirier. If Gaethje can't make it for whatever reason, and they say, okay, Dustin, you've got a good little streak going, time for you to get yourself in there. You get another shot, your last shot at gold. You're going to go to Abu Dhabi and try and get one back. Now what we got to do, we're going to do the next contender fight. Oliveira Holloway, sign me up. Sign me all the way up. That fight is magic. I need to see those two dudes fight before their careers are all said and done. That's the large outcome we should take. It was a great great call from you. Back to the main event, though. We've discussed. I mean, I guess actually let's go to the other side. Beneil Dariush. How tough is this one, Casey? Is this as bad as I think it is?
Well, on our pre-fight Q&A, me and Mike Heck, a fan asked, who if a loss tonight, who would take the biggest loss with a loss? You know what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. And we all agreed it'll be Dariush. And this was pretty much the worst possible outcome for him tonight. Even after he got knocked out or TKO'd, the guy he leaned back on the cage and the guy opened up the cage door and he almost fell out.
That was tough.
I was like, ooh. That was Michael Chandler-esque when they took the stool out from him back when he fought Bellator. I was like, man, tough night for Dariush. It's gonna end and it's one of those fights. If they fought 10 times, I don't think Oliveira wins 10 out of 10 times. I think it was just
definitely not
It's just
probably wins 7 of them.
I would go 7. Yeah, but point being, it was the worst possible outcome for Dariush. He looked good for how long did the fight go? Like 4 minutes, about.
Yeah, just over 4 minutes.
Yeah, but one heck of a 4 minutes. I felt like we got everything we kind of wanted in those 4 minutes. We got like a little leg lock battle, a takedown, get ups, some brawling. We got everything. If you're in Charles's point of view, but I don't know. I don't know how the UFC views Dariush, to be honest. The fans seem to talk about him a lot, and he's not seen, to me, even though he kind of had that same is he ever gonna get a title shot, kind of like the Leon Edwards did before he won the title. But there was a lot of kind of just nobody cared about Leon, but people seem to care about Beneil, so I don't understand why it's so hard for Beneil to get that title shot, or rather be back in the running for a title shot. Like, he's not gonna go to. I don't think he gets thrown to the back of the line, or am I wrong on that?
I don't think he gets thrown to the back of the line because I think you kind of nailed it, right? So I think he got a lot of love from hardcore fans because he had to win so many, and there's always that sort of push back when these situations, like John freaking Fitch of all people, had people battering down the door for him to get a title fight, and he's one of the most boring fighters who's ever stepped in a cage. That's just like, that should be real. But I think the thing with Benny is he's actually like a fun fighter to watch. He is not a boring fighter. Timing just didn't really work out super well for him in some regards, and he is abysmal on the mic. Like he doesn't say any of the things that would get you hyped for a fight, and so that has cut him poorly. But I think he's been a company guy
on the mic though. He's not Stipe.
Well, no, he does talk, but
he says things. It's just
more disconcerting.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll fight 10 more times. Okay, you're killing yourself. But I think he's a company dude. I think they like him, and I think you're right. I don't think that this totally puts him out of the conversation. The problem is just lightweight always, because
the division.
It's
Yeah.
it's just impossible to get a
At the
title
top.
shot in this division anyway. And then when you fall short, now you've got that black mark on the record where he's gonna have to win at least 2 fights over top 8 opposition, and he might not even get those fights because some of those dudes might not fight him, or maybe Volkanovski does get another shot at the title, or any number of things that can happen and kind of jump in the way. He needed to win this one really badly, and he did not. And then not only did he not win it, he got finished in the first round, which is also a pretty big black mark ultimately. And I gotta say, this was an outcome that it didn't totally surprise me, because if you told me that Oliveira was going to stand up, I would have favored him to win the fight. That's what I wrote in my breakdown of this fight. I was like, well, if Charles doesn't do the thing where he just tries to play off his back, he's got a really good chance of winning this. He's a better striker. He hits harder, and Dariush is there to get hit. My concern is that Charles just also gets hit, and he's also super happy to just play off his back. And for 3.5 minutes, that was what happened. And I was like, this is real dumb, and you are losing this round. And then he stood up and just booped him.
I felt like Oliveira kind of this kind of moment. It's like, you know what? I got to do something else. Even though I'm not getting beat up necessarily in the bottom, but I will lose this round, and this is only a 3-round fight. So I think being a 3-round fight, I think Oliveira did. I did maybe after about 45 seconds on his back. I think there was a sense of urgency. It's like, you know what? I got to do something. And
it was, and that's what I underestimated on him, because I saw that and I noted it in the Islam fight. The first round, he tried to play on the back, realized it wasn't going, and the rest of that fight, he didn't just give up the thing. It honestly was pretty similar in the way he didn't really pull guard, but had sort of a weird collision, and the easiest move was for him to just drop to his back, and Islam started working him over. And then after that, he didn't try to give up takedowns. And he did the same thing. He was like, okay, well, I tried it and it didn't work, and now we're going to go to the boop him in the face thing. And that plan worked phenomenally well. Just colded him. Almost the minute they stood up, he just was back to doing Charles Oliveira things, and it was awesome.
When did Charles Oliveira hit so freaking hard? Because Dariush actually blocked that head kick, but he only blocked it with one arm, so the one arm still whacked him, and that was enough to like really mess up Dariush. Then it was just kind of punches, and it kind of was that. Am I saying?
No. I think
okay.
I think you nailed it. And I'm trying to think of the answer to your question, because it's like a real thing.
Yeah, like
it's definitely a real thing.
Gaethje's talked about it. Gaethje's like, that guy hits hard. Like Gaethje's like, and if Gaethje's saying you hit hard, you hit hard.
Yeah, you hit hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, when like you think of him as this phenomenal grappler, and that's a huge important part of his game. But look at his last 4 wins: Dariush knockout, Gaethje submission, but it was a club and sub. Gaethje was on skates and got finished once it went to the mat. Poirier, same thing, club and sub. Michael Chandler, just a clean knockout on the feet. Like that happened at some point in his career, and I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, he killed Jared Gordon, who's an extremely durable dude in general. I don't know where he found it, but he found that was not something in his early game at all, and he's just found it. And some of it is confidence and striking, sure, but he's also he just hits real hard, and that's not something he ever did before.
We got to remember when we first saw Charles Oliveira in the UFC, he was, I think, in his young 20s. So we've actually just seen him get better.
He just gets better.
He just got better. I mean, it just
gets better.
Yeah.
He's enormous. He cuts an obscene amount of weight. I'm sure that doesn't hurt. His ability to hit you very hard. Yeah, that's wild to think that, because that man, you look at his images cutting weight, and you're like, okay. And I mean, Benny's not a small dude either. So, but yeah, the overall point here is Charles Oliveira is dope, and I have no idea how long we're going to have him because he's already been around forever,
Yeah.
and he is a get or get got fighter. When he is going to win quick or he is going to lose pretty quick, that is just how his career has gone the entirety of it, and eventually those miles catch up with you. But for now, we should cherish it because every time he has stepped in a cage for the last like 5 years, it's been guaranteed action. I mean, the most tonight, he by winning that 50 G's, Casey, he now solely owns the record for most post-fight bonuses in UFC history. Prior to this, he was tied at 19, I believe, with Donald Cerrone, and this was his 20th overall bonus. He already had the record for most performance bonuses. He extends that, moving up to 13 performance bonuses in the UFC. Most finishes in the UFC at an even 20. This man keeps writing his name over the UFC record books, and he's still 33. Like, we're talking about a dude who has a real good chance to set a standard that can never be reached as far as, finishes, bonuses, that sort of thing. So we should all just appreciate the hell out of him.
Yeah, it's such an incredible career, and when I say career, I'm not retiring him at all. Obviously,
no.
I feel like we still got to, depending on what he wants.
You could tell me he had 5 more years.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
I
was gonna
could
say,
believe it.
Yeah, 5 years, 3 years, still in his prime at least.
Yeah,
and the crazy part is, like, for a guy that's gonna go down as one of the best lightweights ever, for maybe the first 4 or 5 years in his career, he was just, I don't want to call him a mid-carder, but he was just like,
no, he's
he could be good. Yeah, I mean,
he was a fun action guy.
Fun action guy, yeah.
He was Nate Landwehr. Like, he was just that guy. He was a guy who was always game, always going to be fun. But instead of being, in his mid-30s like Nate, he was 21, 22, and you can see something happening. And he's one of those guys who I think you grow to appreciate a lot more. I at least certainly have. Like, Rafael dos Anjos is always my go-to of this guy who feels like he had 2 different careers. One as a guy who was a respectable, good fighter, and then, I don't know, 8 years into his career, he figured it out. He just put it all together, and suddenly he is an elite, unbelievable fighter. And Charles Oliveira did that. For the first few years, he was figuring it out, and then he started this run, and now he's – I would certainly put him as one of the 5 best lightweights of all time at this point in time, and he still has plenty of time to keep climbing those ranks. So I have nothing but good things to say about Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
As big of an Islam Makhachev fan as I am, if they do the rematch, kind of want Oliveira to win because that would be a dope rivalry to have.
And one thing I appreciate about DuBronx too is, like, not that I'm like, I hate trash talk. Trash talk is so boring. I get it's part of the game, but he's done all this relatively with zero trash talk, just being confident. I just appreciate that. I just kind of, we have our trash talk fighters. That's cool and everything, but I appreciate, like, almost like a Jose Aldo type of kind of aura. I just say my thing. I'm confident, and yeah, I'm the champion. I'm the best. I like
champion
it.
has a name, and it's Charles Oliveira.
What a great line. When he first said it, I was kind of like, that's kind of cheesy, but he stuck to it, and now
He just
it works.
committed. Sometimes
he committed to the bit.
To it.
Yeah.
And there it goes. I thought he was going to do it there. One thing, just a question for you, because I don't know the answer to this. Has he always been so, like, enamored with Canada? He was super emotional on the walkout, and that was weird, and then he's in tears afterwards, and I just kind of came out of left field, not in a bad way at all, but it felt like if I didn't know this was happening in Vancouver, I would have been like, this must have been Sao Paulo, because the crowd loved him, and he reacted as if that was the biggest win of his life in front of all of his friends and family and countrymen.
This is his first time winning in Canada too. I remember that was a
It
big
is.
storyline.
0-4, baby. 0-4 prior to this.
Yeah.
Big
So,
win.
like,
Broke the curse. Arguably the most important part of that victory tonight.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Just broke the Canadian curse.
I still love the fact. Before we move on, Charles Oliveira, I still love the fact that he fought Nick Lentz 3 times.
Yeah, that's one of the weirder trilogies.
That has got to be the weirdest trilogy with an all-time great.
Saw Nick Lentz on Thursday.
Okay.
Saw Nick Lentz on Thursday at the PFL. hanging around backstage. He was I forget which of the fights. He was doing a breakdown of one of the finishes and why the dude who got finished is doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Let me think about which one it was. He was like, "Yeah, no, that shouldn't have worked," but he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So it's just how it goes. Oh, it was Sungbin Joe. It was Bubba Jenkins getting, I think, getting that RNC, and it's like, "Yeah, I don't know what the dude was doing. It was dumb." So so hilarious that Nick Lentz was doing that. Shout out to you, the Carney. Other things that happen on the main card: Mike Malott defeats Adam Fugit with guillotine choke. Great performance. Is Mike Malott going to be the next Canadian star, Casey? Let's talk there because the crowd loved him. Had an excellent post fight, I thought. I don't know how what he's got to offer, but if he can continue to build and develop and get wins, they might have something here.
They definitely have something. I just don't know. Obviously, he's good. He's a very talented welterweight. Is he top 10? Is he top 15? Is he championship contender level? I just don't know, to be honest. But if he can be a legitimate top 10 fighter, yes, they do have something in Mike Malott. He doesn't have the GSP aura just because GSP's GSP, and he said himself. It's really unfair to kind of call him to make any comparisons to GSP. It's just not fair, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got something, and he doesn't mind being on the mic. He doesn't mind talking about himself. He doesn't mind hyping himself up. So yeah, good on him. Good on the UFC for putting him this high in the card. It worked out. Yeah. No issues.
I will say that about the card. I maintain everything. I actually didn't say a lot of words about this card beforehand because I was not really I was doing PFL stuff this week, so I was not on many of the shows. But one of the big narratives is that this was really bad pay-per-view, and that holds true. It doesn't really matter that the pre-narrative and the post-narrative, but I will say, if you did spend $80 on this, you're probably not that unhappy with it. If some of your mileage is going to vary on how much you care about Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders, but that fight was substantially more entertaining than I frankly thought it was going to be. Ends up winning your fight of the night and a reasonable fight of the night. I don't think that that's wrong. Dan Ige, Nate Landwehr was probably less fun than I thought it would be, but still compelling in some ways and interesting.
I think because Dan Ige just kind of outclassed him. That's why.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He did. Well, I thought that part would happen. I just thought Nate Landwehr would get a little weirder with it when he was losing real bad and make it a chaos fight because he thrives in there. But Ige just never even let him. He was just like, nah, I'm just much better at this.
There was just too big a gap to even, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wouldn't let him get sort of any of that traction rolling, but it was still a fine fight. Mike Malott does the thing for Canada, big exciting finish. Oliveira Dariush and the main event are great. The main event maybe isn't the best fight. Some people may be left a little disappointed. I've seen some comments in the thing about that being disappointing. At the end of the day, it's a dominant win, and the last time the GOAT's ever competing, and her retiring like that, I did frankly put the spotlight back on her. I think the only conversation we would be having if she doesn't retire after that fight is, well, Charles Oliveira is still awesome. And yeah, by the way, Amanda Nunes keeps being Amanda Nunes. But by delivering that performance and retiring, you sort of got everything that you could have hoped for. Like the way I know AK does his rating scale by saying this is the max this card can get if everything delivers. And got pretty close to whatever this card could max out as. So if you spend $80, you're probably not disappointed with that purchase this weekend.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, pretty much agree with you. I think my mileage for the actual main event may vary, but the storyline though for the main event though kind of made up for it. Like you pretty much repeat what you said, and in the first three fights, wow, yeah, I'll go ahead and say for entertainment wise, the card performed or overperformed, but name value wise, I don't. Yeah, that's how it was gonna be. That was gonna be an issue from the get go. But
Yeah, that was never going to get fixed by great
yeah,
performances. Yeah, you just can't do anything about it. Let's talk about the undercard a little bit because we are still waiting on Amanda Nunes, the last fighter to remain. I love the scroll at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just fantastic work. One fighter left. It's Amanda Nunes. It's the champ, the I guess former champ as she's retired, but she's going to take as long as she damn well pleases because before we hop to the prelim, let me just say, watching her celebrate after was one of the best moments of this year in MMA thus far. Just drinking beers, dancing with the kid, just being like, "Hey, I did it. I won MMA. I won it all. I did all the things. None of you are ever going to touch me. Get at me, son." It was heartwarming for a fighter who probably generally underappreciated in her career while being just usually just a good person, like someone who is joyous and fun to watch and sort of support. So huge
Great
thing.
watching.
Big fan of it. Let's talk about some of the prelims. Nasruddin Imavov, Chris Curtis ends in a no contest after an accidental clash of heads. We'll come back and talk to that in a minute. Jasmine Jasnavicius, I don't know if I say that right. Really strong performance against Miranda Maverick, wins unanimous decision. Ayman Zahabi, our hero, Ariel Helwani, getting a 1 minute knockout over Awi Kiling.
That was a cool knockout too. That was neat.
Sick.
That was sick. That wasn't like I don't even know how you do you train that? Was that something he just saw? That was a.
I'm assuming that's just sort of like seeing it in the minute and just firing.
That was super creative. Yeah, good on him. Good on Ariel.
Very unfortunate that Ariel did not get a post fight bonus. We'll just say that. Not saying the people who got him didn't deserve it. Very unfortunate didn't get one. Kyle Nelson.
The UFC only made a $5 million gate. You can't. They can't be handing out.
Can't put another $50K.
Yeah.
Though I will say this. Take away credit for not giving our boy Ayman Zahabi a bonus, but credit to Dana White, credit to the UFC. Steven Erceg gets a phenomenal win over David Dvorak. Man comes in on short notice fighting a top 10 flyweight in the world in his UFC debut. Super unheralded guy and wins it clean. Like a very deserved unanimous decision win over David Dvorak. And a pretty fun little fight. Not the best fight you're going to watch, but
I enjoyed it.
Now, I say it's a good fight, and now it's between two top 15 guys because come Tuesday, Steven Erceg is going to be ranked in the UFC's top 15, probably going to be ranked in the UFC's top 10, and may end up getting ranked in the MMA fighting flyweight rankings with, a big win over a ranked guy. And didn't get a finish, but the UFC still going to give him a performance bonus, so credit for that. The other two fights, Kyle Nelson showing out for Canada, defeats Blake Bilder. Decent sized underdog and again won clean 30-27 on two scorecards. And the opener of the evening, Diana Belbita defeats Maria Oliveira, unanimous decision in a fight. They got in the cage and combated one another. Not the best opener in the world, but again, top to bottom a decent card, only 11 fights. I love that. Casey, let's talk about the unfortunate. Let's talk about Nasruddin Imavov versus Chris Curtis. First round, Imavov pretty clearly wins it. Things are probably still going Imavov's way in the second round, but Curtis is doing okay, really working the body, maybe starting to come alive a little more. And then a clash of heads leads to a no contest. The second clash of heads in two fights for Chris Curtis. Curtis infamously losing his most recent fight against Kelvin Gastelum, in large part, if not in total part, because Gastelum lands a headbutt that goes unnoticed by the referee and judges. Curtis gets knocked down. Everyone thinks he is knocked down, loses the round, loses the fight. In fact, it was an illegal headbutt that did that. So Chris Curtis, we were talking about this either on a show or off air internally at some point last week. Has Chris Curtis taken the title of the most cursed man in MMA?
I was thinking that.
It's
too.
Pretty tough, man.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
Like
what? One more. Let's see this next fight. Maybe he'll get.
Dude, if he gets headbutted again, he's got it.
Yeah.
If there's another headbutt in whenever his next fight is, there is.
And apparently, from what Chris Curtis tweeted out, I think 10 stitches and what was causing the main issue why he couldn't see. I think the headbutt actually hit his eyeball, so he actually had a cornea abrasion too. So if you're wondering why he was saying I can't see, it wasn't actual blood, but the 10 stitches in that spot looked like that was, no matter what, that fight was done.
That's the thing too, because I saw some backlash for Chris Curtis, which is insane. Don't be
so
that way.
stupid. Yeah.
But you can go look at the fight. Sean Strickland posted a picture of it. I will never tell you to go look at Sean Strickland's Twitter because it's usually the worst place on the internet. But if you go check it out, he posted a picture of the cut, and I mean, it's a full like Vitor Randy eyelid just sliced all the way open.
Worst spot. It's just the worst spot. Just
the worst spot you can possibly get one, and it is deep and it is long, and like I don't really know why the doctor was even contemplating letting him go back out there regardless of his vision. Like it doesn't really matter the corneal abrasion or not. That cut is only going to be worse, and it's only going to be worse in a way that is just the worst possible for Chris Curtis. So it's an unfortunate incident. If Chris Curtis gets headbutted in his third fight, we may have to make a blood sacrifice to the MMA gods because that is a tough out for him. And hearing him plead with Jason Herzog, no, just give me a couple more minutes. Like I can't see right now. Just give me some more time. Is a tough out. And a pretty tough out to get 10 stitches on your eyelid because stitches aren't fun anywhere. I have to imagine them on your eyelid is just horrible.
Yeah, I'm just imagining the big lamp and the guy, or
just
like don't
sewing
move.
up your eyelid is the worst. Okay, let's go back to Amanda Nunes. Unless you have other things that you want to address off the prelims.
Off the prelims, to me, a bit of a breakout performance from Jasmine Jasavicius.
Really good fight from her.
I'm gonna be positive, but in the moment I was watching the fight, I was like, "What is wrong with Miranda Maverick?" Maybe I kind of threw this out there as like, is she quote unquote washed at the age of 24, 25? Only because I say this only because I'm pretty sure she's been one of those fighters that have been doing this since
as a child.
Yeah, basically as a child. So maybe she just peaked or something. I don't know, because when I saw Miranda Maverick fight coming up, I know she lost to Erin Blanchfield and stuff. I know Erin Blanchfield it's like the prospect of all prospects right now at flyweight. But I thought Miranda Maverick was still like number 2. But man, that was not the Miranda Maverick I've watched. I was shocked. I don't know if it was Jasmine just shut her down or what, because I don't know. Jasmine's good, but she wasn't supposed to be that good. So
I would say that's the best performance of her UFC career by a good stretch.
So yeah, we got. I don't. Yeah, I was just shocked. I was I'm just like,
yes.
What am I watching? I was like, I just didn't know what I was watching. I was just very confused. And unless she had some kind of injury or some kind of just, I don't know, in her head or something. Wow, but you got to show up on fight night, and this is what you do. Oh, we lost.
Let's say we've lost something.
Yeah, me.
Well, I have 2 things for you first, Casey.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on this very thing, and so it's actually important because I have just been informed by the esteemed New York Rick has sent me an Instagram from one Miranda Maverick. And I'm going to quote it here. Some things are scarier than fighting, and one of those things is going blind. My left eye went blurry end of round 2 and was completely blind throughout the 3rd round. Mostly back now. I'll be meeting with a retina specialist this coming week, but I'll admit I was scared during that time. Still firmly believe in taking responsibility and ownership for my ups and downs. It wasn't my night. Jasmine did great in there. Capitalized on my hesitations. Poor shots. Congratulations, all due respect to her. Sorry to those I disappointed, and thank you to those who didn't let 15 minutes of my life represent who I am. I will be back. So, does sound like she was dealing with something heading in certainly full 3rd round and some of the 2nd round. She apparently could not see out of one eye, which is going to make you a much more difficult fighter. That doesn't totally answer the 1st round, which I think she won, but was largely spent in one position pursuing that armbar, and prior to that, just sort of having an off night. I think for me, this comment changes some things. I'd like to go back and look at it with that eye, but we'll do that later because Amanda Nunes, the champ, former champ, is here for one final time. Let's listen to Amanda Nunes at a post-fight press conference.
Amanda, right here. Congratulations on a win and an amazing career. How long in advance did you know that tonight was going to be your final MMA fight and you were going to walk away after the fact?
When I signed the contract for this fight, I tried to hide for you guys the whole week, but like you guys look like was on top of it. But like I just don't want to focus on that, focus in my fight, because I don't want to keep talking about the retirement all the time. So, and I still talking. Imagine if I say like, yeah, I'm gonna retire. I would be all about that. So, yeah, I knew the whole time.
Okay, and obviously it was a very dominant performance. I'm curious, you came in on crutches. What injuries did you sustain?
I have a nerve damage in my leg already, and not even supposed to kick anymore because, I always gonna get hurt. I kick in training, I kick in the fight, so my whole career, imagine it, my leg is just like can take anymore, and this is one of my best weapon, and take it away from me, and every time in the fight I always get hurt, always. So, but I'm glad that I got the win tonight.
Yeah, it was a completely dominant performance. How did it go relative to how you expected? Did you think she was gonna have more to offer you in there at all?
When exactly how I was picturing in my mind, and I did what I supposed to do. I really want to mix everything, was exactly what I did. Me and my coach, we really work on that. I know her body is very weak too. I was exploring just my first shot was in her body. I know that would change the whole game plan of hers. And when I landed the first front kick, I knew like she was like, all right, now I have to do something else, but she don't have anything left, just her boxing. But when I started like mix it up, her body and her head, the takedowns and everything else, she really was be able to do anything. And I knew when I switched a couple times, she would get lost because she thought I'm gonna strike more in the southpaw. And I went right away to my natural side because I know it's gonna confuse her and her coach. And I was hear him the whole time tell her things and make she even make more mistake, to throw more, throw. He was telling her to throw, like move forward and throw. That is my best shot when you chase me, It's gonna be your whole body against my shot. That make it even stronger. But like she landed a couple good ones too, give her that credit. But like I saw they was a little confusing about the whole strategy of her to face me tonight.
How do you want people to remember you in the sport? I mean, people throw around words like GOAT, all that kind of stuff. But in your own words, how do you want to be remembered now?
The grades of all time. I did everything. I break a lot of records. Tonight, I tied with Anderson Silva. It's amazing, huh? So I'm very happy about that.
Do you want to be around the sport? I know like being here talking to us isn't maybe your favorite element of doing this, but like, are you excited to be off the radar and, out of the picture, or do you want to still be involved in MMA?
I love this sport, definitely I have my gym, so I have a couple girls there and I'm love to help them to be able to succeed as well. I have a lot to offer, as a double champ, I know a lot. So, and my coach too, we will a team, we work together, and I be able to make a girl a champion too. If I really work with one girl, I can make her a champion. So I know everything about this game, mental, and be good at it, do strategy. So me and my team, we really know do those things. So we really gonna make a strong team in the future. But right now, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go see my family in Brazil and enjoy a little bit too. My family at home. Nina is pregnant too. She need a little break. She like she always have a hard time attack today in the hotel. She like I cannot do this anymore. I don't know if because I'm pregnant or something, but like this is killing me. And she like was done too. She already retired, you know. Imagine if she like in my camp too. She retired, but at the same time, no. You know, she always there for me. And I say like Nina is like make everything easy for in my career. She make everything easy for me. You know, she really prepare everything. She like talk to everybody. She like wanna I really like chase the dream. You know, train and be good at it. And this is what making me good too. Have a partner like that. Imagine even like we have a baby at home. She like, no, I take it, go sleep, and I handle Reagan. Don't worry. So we like I have a team, man, like at home, at the gym. So we now added Maggie too, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. I brought her to this camp. I know she's gonna help me a lot, you know, and she did it. My jiu-jitsu was so like tired and everything, and I just want to go there and then mix it up everything and do a little bit of everything, take down jiu-jitsu and then strike. So was exactly what I did tonight.
And just last thing from me, the two belts sitting in front of you are going to become vacant now. How do you want the UFC to proceed? Dana was in here. He hinted that the featherweight division might just go away entirely now. Who do you want to see fighting for that bantamweight title next?
Honestly, I want to be there to watch, you know? So for me right now, it's like, I don't really care, you know? I beat all of them. So it's nothing left, you know? If anybody can get this belt now, it's like, it's just to have it because I did everything in this division. This division's like gone, all of them. So I break recently and I beat all the girls out there, you know, all the best girls. So I just want to watch, you know, from outside now what is going to happen. And yeah, going to be there for sure.
Amanda, just to follow up on that, were you at all disappointed that the UFC didn't do more to build the featherweight division to bring in more names now that it seems it may go away?
Honestly, no, UFC, they know what they do, you know? It's like, if it's not going where the division, what I'm going to do, you know? I'm like, I didn't retire tonight, if they have a girl for me, I would, you know, I would face her. But like, whatever they want to do, UFC know what they do, you know. That's why UFC is the best company, you know. So, well, we'll see.
Congratulations on retirement.
Thank you.
Amanda, obviously, I'm sure, you know, excuse me, you feel good about retiring now, but I'm sure it's going to be weird for you seeing other women with your belt, you know, if you go and watch the next fight and then they're the champion. Do you think there's any chance that maybe 12 months, 2 years, you'll be like, actually, that is still my belt and I want it back?
No, I'm going to have my belt at home with me. That is going to be the fake one, you know. So it's going to be fake forever, you know. So who get the belt now is going to be just like pretend to have, you know. So yeah, I'm gone. I'm good. You know, I did everything. I'm all taken care of in my life. Thank you, UFC. They really like take care of me, and they always gonna take care of me. You know, so I'm gonna be around here. If I don't do anything with them, I'm still gonna like go up and down here just to be around because I love this sport so much, so much. And I did everything to be the best at it, you know. And I prove it tonight. I retire with my 2 belts that I told you guys I'm gonna retire. If you guys go back, see my whole interview, you see, and then I know, you know, and I born to do this. I born to be in this world, you know. I always gonna be here. Maybe a coach, maybe in people's corner. I'm like, I want to make a champion too, you know. I want to be able to be there to see another person succeed.
This may surprise you, but Juliana Pena is quite angry that you retired.
Oh my goodness. what I say about that girl.
I mean, you know,
She's supposed to be. I'm supposed to beat her tonight again. You know what I mean? She was the one to know how to train, breaking the rib. What I'm gonna do about it?
if you had beaten her the first time, would you have retired then? Was it her?
No, I know if it was Juliana Pena tonight, I know retire because I want to fight somebody that I never fight before to retire. You know, tonight would be the night. I would beat Juliana and then fight Aldana or whatever, and then retire.
How do you think Dana was in here and he said Juliana will probably be involved in the vacant title fight? Like it'll be her against someone. How do you think? Do you think she'll be
They
champion?
have to go. You know, the division have to move on. But I think Aldana is gonna be a good one in the future. You know, I think she's gonna come back strong, and she might get the belt. You know, or we'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be good to see, right? You know, now I'm retired. It's gonna be good for me too to see how the division is gonna play out. I'm very excited for the division. You know, I did everything. I break all the records, and now I want to see from outside. You know, see how the girls is gonna do it, and be happy forever.
Amanda, do you think Juliana Pena will ever be champion again?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Aldana, I think Aldana can beat her. You know, and yeah, I feel like she got luck, man. In that fight against me, you know, she know I was ready, but I proved in the second fight, and then I don't think she's gonna be a champion. I don't think at all. She's not ready though. She's now ready to be a champion.
And I know this is fresh, but looking back on your career, is there one moment that really stands out? You know, obviously defeating Ronda Rousey to win the belt. Sort of looking back, what's maybe a career highlight that is at the top of the list for you?
Honestly, I have so many highlights. Like the kick against Holly Holmes was a good one too. The fight against Ronda Rousey, the Cyborg fight. So was so many. Tonight was amazing. You know, so many. I'm just like very happy and grateful. You know, everything's ended exactly how I want.
Amanda, one here to your left, you sort of challenged your fellow Brazilian fighters to step up their stuff together and capture a world title in your absence. Is there anyone who you sort of see as being on the precipice of becoming a world champion from Brazil?
I see Charles come back strong, and they might, get the belt. And yeah, who else? Pereira. We have a lot. We have chances, I'm excited to see, and I'm probably gonna be there to see them too. So we have a lot of like talents that's upcoming too. So I'm very excited.
And what is it about Brazil and the Brazilian people that makes you want to see that continued success now that you've retired?
It's my people, So, and we pretty much start everything. So we always want to see the Brazilian here, and yeah, I feel like it's good to have a Brazilian. We put it so much too. I feel like it would be good to see a Brazilian with the belt. So I can't wait to see.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Amanda, you hung around in the cage for a bit after the fight was over and you were dancing. What was that moment like for you, knowing that was your final time in there as a champion?
Happiness, amazing. The memories with Reagan, with my family, with my coach, my friends. It's just amazing. When I was think a lot of things in my mind, go through all the way to Brazil, go back all the way to Brazil, and then see where I come from, all the step in the way, the changes that I have to make in my whole career to be able to succeed. And man, it's just like a very amazing moment. And yeah, like I'm still like, in shock with everything. And I still grow, as a fighter. I'm like, if I don't retire today, like this division, I would like clean all over again because I still grow as a fighter. And I grow with MMA, I grow with MMA. I always think how I'm gonna show up. I dream about it. I put in the paper. I go with Nina. Sometimes we watch TV, something come up in my mind, like Nina standing in front of me. I'm gonna do this. I think this is gonna work. So my mind I always think about succeed. My mind is like that, So, and when I think in my next opponent, my mind already like is work so much. Even when I sleep, I work. This is one of the things that I need rest to, because I never sleep like full sleep. Almost 7 years with this belt. Imagine, I never have like a full night to sleep without think about anything or my opponents or whatever. So I need a break, but man, I have a lot to offer still. I still growing so much. And if I go to the gym now, I still like think about it, and I want to see how that is gonna play out without retire and then think about fight anything. But I still grow in the gym. I don't know how it's gonna happen. Nina is gonna have a heart attack.
Is there anything that could get you back in the cage?
Man, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think I might is gonna be there for other people, to help. I did so much, to my body and everything. I just don't want to lose weight anymore. I just, this hurts so bad. And been doing this for so long and it loses so much weight. Like my body, I feel like need a really good rest. And I'm 35 now. I can really enjoy my life. I live in Brazil. I was so young, in my 20s. I didn't enjoy my 20s. I enjoy because I chose to do this. This is not always a sacrifice for me. I chose to do this. I love what I do. So I came from Brazil. I was happy. I was doing. I know I'm gonna get the belt. I know everything. I was prepared everything. I chose to be here tonight. I leave my family behind. That not was like a sacrifice at all for me because I chose it. And now in my 35, now I'm gonna enjoy what I didn't enjoy in my 20s because I put everything to become who I am today. So I'm just gonna enjoy my life now.
Congrats and enjoy.
Thank you.
Amanda, just one quick one to follow up. If you could go back and tell that Brazil anything, what would you tell her?
You make the right decision, girl. Good job. And yeah, I am so proud of you. You make that decision so young, And also, Sensei Ricardo, Sensei Edson, back then, believe in my talent too, was like, you want to go to America? He was living here already and everything, and they helped me to come here. I remember when I stepped in this country, in New Jersey. So when this fight supposed to be in New Jersey, I was so happy because where's the place that I stepped for the first time in America with $20 in my pocket. And everybody there was so happy because I have a couple friends there, and everybody like, I can't believe you're gonna fight here. Like you came. And I remember in the gym, they make a little box for everybody in the gym and putting money to help me to eat and everything. And everybody, like all the students in the gym used to walk and then put like couple dollars for me. And at the end of the day, I used to grab this box and have money to eat, do whatever. So it's a lot of things went through when I retired tonight, because when I came here, I have all these moments at the gym and Sensei Edson, and then I moved to Miami right after, I make another like move to be able to keep like growing this sport. I went to MMA Masters, trained with Caesar Daniel, and stayed there for a little bit. And I learned so much from them. Daniel gave me my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they really, really believe it too with me. And then one point in my life, I have to move it to, went to America top team. And then when it started everything, this journey, I'm so happy to be able to go in this path, be able to make those move in my life, and then coming together pretty well. I'm so grateful to have everybody, that's helped me to become who I am today. So and now I have my studio. Did I make another step in my life to decide doing my own? When I lost the belt, if I have to start in the zero again, now I'm gonna go in my own. I'm gonna grab people that I trained before, and add a couple people. And when I lock that door, it's gonna be only people that I really wanna be inside this gym. And every time that I walk in my gym, I call it as a sanctuary because I have everything, all the posts that I make history in the UFC is all in the wall. That makes me so powerful when I walk in that thing. That's unbelievable. For you have an idea, when I walk in the gym, I say, "Good morning, studio." When I walk out, I say, "I see you tomorrow. Let's do this." So this is a place that I really make me strong every day that I walk in. Sometimes like I go upstairs and then stay there and I just feel good. It feel good to see everything that I make. All my trophies is there. And I rest, look all my accomplishment is making me even powerful all the time and say like I look, if I want to remember anything, I just look in the wall. If I want to, so it's just amazing. That place, really, I make the right decision and have everybody with me, all my coaches that I have now, couple friends that I have with me there. It's like amazing.
Thank you. Fantastic story. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
There she, the women's GOAT, the UFC bantamweight and featherweight champions. Almost certainly the final UFC women's featherweight champion of all time. And she won't be the final UFC women's bantamweight champion of all time, but maybe she should be. And she certainly is making the claim that she will be, because everyone else will be fake. She, on the crutches with the double belts, gets that's the last image of her, Casey. And that's the last of us, because we're done here. The post-fight presser is over. Taking some photos of Amanda Nunes. But don't worry, because we're going to be right back in just a couple of minutes with the UFC 289 post-show, Casey. It's going to be me. It's going to be Casey. I think Shaheen Al-Shadi's going to be there. I think AK Lee. I don't know who else is going to be there. Tune in on this same channel in like 3 minutes, and we will see y'all then. Love you guys.